Huge fight this one. It's been a long road to get here with changes to the card. Just talk to us a little bit about the journey to Wembley.
Yeah, look, the main event was made a long time ago. But as you said, Vidal Riley against Isaac Chamberlain pulled out on 2 or 3 weeks' notice. We had another big fight that pulled out on 3 weeks' notice. And so then you left. You have to keep on the card. The main event is enormous. You've got the lads on the undercard having huge opportunities. And Scott Forrest and Callum Simpson, fair play to them. 3 weeks later, in big fights, Callum Simpson defending his Commonwealth title against a very game Elvis Agora, as we saw there, and Scott Forrest in a really 50-50 fight with Aurel Idnat, who trains with Martin Bowers, who was delighted to accept this opportunity. And it's 8-0 and 8-0, and that fight will be fireworks as well. So credit to them. I think people don't realise, if you're not in the gym or you've not got a fight, to fight on 2 or 3 weeks' notice is really tough. And it was always going to be tough, but credit to them and both in big fights.
And you pinpointed Callum there, and I was just interested, after the very quick win over Steve Woodall, how soon was it after that? Did he come to you and say, Ben, get me out there soon? Perhaps not thinking this card, but was he raring to go straight away?
He was. We've obviously got a huge event potentially planned for him in June. But he's always wanted activity. I've never seen someone so dedicated. He wants to get to the top of the sport as quickly as possible. And he knows that means activity. He knows that means fighting when the opportunity presents. And he sticks in the gym. He's extremely professional. It gives me so much confidence that he's going right to the very top. And yeah, to accept a fight on 2 or 3 weeks' notice, having just headlined his own show, says everything you need to know about Callum Simpson. And I think he's ready. I think he's enjoying the activity. I think he's enjoying being in the gym. And he'll want to put on another big statement. It's almost a travelling circus when Callum fights. He's got a huge fan base. And yeah, fingers crossed he can put on another huge performance.
And Elvis Ahorga up there had all of us in raptures with that performance at the press conference. Do you wish that every fighter sold a fight as well as he did?
Look, he's done his job, but he's also very, very serious about what he says. People don't realise that boxers can wait for their whole career for a moment like this, and you have to perform on the night. You have to be confident. You have to make sure that you take it seriously, and he knows this is his opportunity. Probably trained his whole career for this. And so when it comes, he's going to take it. And yeah, you want all fighters to want to take it, not just in the ring, but take their opportunity at the press conference, at the weigh-ins, to make an impression. Because ultimately, that's what gets you back. That's what gets you back on the TV shows. That's what keeps the viewers interested. What I saw was an extremely determined Elvis Agora, and that's what I want. And Callum probably, if he didn't know before, now knows he's in a real fight, and he needs to switch on.
And from one danger man to another, Sergei Lipinets, former world champion, been in with the very, very best. What made you think this was the right time for Adam to take a fight like this?
I think it was the performance against Ahara Davis wasn't just good, it was superb. And we know that he's got that in him, but when he starts doing it in the ring, when he starts doing it on fight night, you get very excited because he's so talented, he's so driven, he's such a phenomenal athlete, and you start to come to life, and you just think, yep, let's go, let's get to world level. Sergei Lipinets only loses and only has lost to the very, very best. You know, he's extremely well conditioned. He's coming off the back of a very, very good win, and he's a former world champion. He's gonna give Adam something serious to think about. The only way we got him into the fight was by signing a promotional contract that dictates what happens after. That was the only way that he took this fight, and that says a lot about what Saturday night's about. It's about Sergei finding his way back to the top, and it's about Adam breaking into the world scene, and it should be a great fight.
Do you like to see that from someone like Lipinets, where he's come to you and said, no, I might be the quote-unquote opponent for this, but I am someone that is valuable to you. I am someone that can go on to have big fights myself, and I'm coming to win.
Look, what it shows to me is he's not here to make the numbers. When a fighter says to you, I'm not taking the fight unless there's a long-term plan, you know they're serious, and you know they're extremely confident in their capabilities, and they've seen something in Adam Azim that makes them confident. And so let's see what happens. Their team is extremely confident. Alex is extremely confident. They don't know what we see in the gym. They might be judging it off Adam Azim's past performances that have been very good, but what has not been seen so far is phenomenal. So Yeah, it's a very interesting fight, and Sergei is extremely ambitious, and yeah, it's a huge step up from O'Hara Davis. It really is.
And Adam can't afford to look past a fight like Sergei Lipinets. But as a promoter, you're permitted to have a little bit more of a long-term view. I wonder, someone who's been making a lot of noise about Adam, you know who I'm going to say here, Dalton Smith has been talking. Is that a fight that you're looking at for Adam, or is that a case of not yet?
It's not a case of not yet. It's a case of making the best business decision for Adam Azim. He's the star. He's the A-side. He's the one everyone's calling out. Very rare do you have a 28-year-old running around after a 22-year-old. But it happens, and boxing forever. If you're the star, if you're making the noise, you're going to have people calling you out. It's a great fight. I think the trajectory that Adam's on can't be compared to anyone really in the division to be doing this at his age. And I'm sure the fight will happen this year, but yeah, I think you only have to compare who Dalton fought last week with who Adam's fighting on Saturday to see where they're at, and it's hard to see. Good to see you, bro. It's hard to see that fight not happening, so let's see what happens.
And does the landscape and maybe the timescale of that potential fight change massively if Dalton wins a belt? He's very well placed now.
Good, they both want to win world titles, and that's every fighter's dream, but they also want the big nights. And do you want to fight Dalton Smith at Wembley Arena, or do you want to fight him at the O2 or even a stadium? And that's what Adam has to decide. He's on the cusp of becoming a superstar, and he wants to take those big fights and those big nights. You don't often get those big domestic opponents. They're not queuing out the door, and it's a fight that we're very confident in. And if I was the promoter of Dalton Smith, I'd be desperate to get it as early as possible, because for me it only goes one way, that fight.
And from one stadium fight to another, since the last time that I spoke to you, the undercard has been announced for that huge show. Eubank Jr, Conor Benn. Just talk us through some of the other fights that we're getting that night. What are you excited for?
Look, it's just a huge night. It's one of the biggest nights in British boxing history. I think the numbers are going to show that. It's cross-generational. It's enormous. We worked extremely hard to put together a huge all-British card. Eubank Jr is looking to do a demolition job in a huge way. But as you said, Dalton Smith in a big fight to return. Vidal Riley in what I believe could be fight of the night against Chev Clark, especially after what happened here. Delighted to make that opportunity. I'm excited to see Anthony Yard back, who for me offers something very different in that light heavyweight division. It's an all-British card. My old mate Liam Smith's even on there against Aaron McKenna, who will, we know as well, extremely well as well. So great British fights, but the main event is show-stopping, and yeah, the interest in that fight is just off the scale. It's more than we ever imagined. We've been planning it for a long time. We've been hoping for it for this level of event for a long time. And as I say, with Fury or Joshua not on the cards, this is by far and away the biggest fight in British boxing.
And with obviously their father's rivalry was crucial, I think, in a whole generation of people finding boxing in the mainstream. Do you view Eubank Jr against Benn as something that can have that effect now? Yeah,
it's a good point. People question this fight and question what the rivalry and question where it's come from. But the reality is, it is professional boxing. There's a lot on the line. It's licensed by the British Boxing Board of Control. It's two guys that a lot of people don't really know who's going to win, and it's capturing the imagination of the British public. What more can you ask for from an event? And as I say, this isn't misfits. This is two professionals selling out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, probably going to do a record number of pay-per-view buys, and that can only be good for the sport, especially the British sport. And it shows what a great place boxing is in.
I think that's a great place to end it on. Ben, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Top man.